Oh my God, does it even work? I can see myself. Okay, let's wait a few more minutes for other people to join. Well, I think it will be a little bit boring for me if I'm going to be the only one here in Zoom. So I will share a link with everyone to this Zoom call so that if you have something to say, please join. But for most of attendees, it will be fine if you just watch it on YouTube. There will be maybe 5 seconds delay, but it's join this Zoom call if you want to. So here is a link. Great. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Hello. Great. I'm glad that I'm not the only one who is here today. So yeah, Thierno is also joining us. Great. Feel free to turn on your video.
So yeah, I was just looking for that. Here we go.
Great. So we have Ilia with us today, Thierno, Bryant, and me. We are maintainers, and maybe there will be 1 or 2 more guys who join us. So we'll see. Let's give a couple minutes for people to join. I can see that few people are already watching it, so which is good. Well, maybe I need to share this link somewhere else too.
In the LinkedIn chat, maybe.
Sorry, which link?
The Zoom link in the LinkedIn chat, maybe.
Yeah, I put it in the YouTube chat. I don't know if you see it now, but it should be there. Let's see.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Feel free to turn on video, Ilia and Thierno.
Just need to set up my background.
Well, you know, I spent a few minutes to find such awesome background myself.
Yeah, I want the same one.
Well, today is Independence Day in Ukraine, so I put this on purpose. It's Ukrainian food, which you can see. So somewhere here, this is borscht. somewhere here. And behind my face, this is vareniki and pampushki and salo. Okay, let's see, maybe. Yeah, I think we can start. I know that few people will watch this afterwards because they cannot attend it. So it should be fine if we just start. So first of all, let's see who we are. Right, we are 4 people here in this Zoom call. And once more, if anyone wants to attend, please join. And the link to Zoom call is inside of YouTube chat. So the purpose of this call, first of all, is to put some light into what kind of situation do we have in Terraform AWS modules, and well, and talk about EKS module. It's getting bigger, and what can we do about it. Then we'll probably talk about some improvements which we can do overall for all of modules related to release process, and then some things related to Terraform docs, which didn't make our life easier for last, well, I don't remember when we had difficulties, but about June or May, we started to have some difficulties with versionings. So let's talk about that one. And yeah, and what can we do with stale issues, especially in EKS module, where people say, no, it's not stale, please keep this open, keep this issue open, it's still a problem. So yeah, we need to do that. And yeah, and how we can do similar process with stale issues in other repositories as well. And also I put a couple comments about Terraform version 0.12. What should we do with it? Should we keep using it or maybe drop it completely? So I'm sure that some of you have certain opinions on that. Let's talk about that. Overall, we have to be limiting ourselves to not more than an hour. So let's see. Once more, we are 4 people here. Maybe we should just kind of say briefly who we are, what we do, just like so that people who are watching this understand who we are, what we do. I think it's good round of introduction anyway. So well, I can just start since I'm talking already. I am Anton Babenko, and well, and that's it. And I've been doing this Terraform AWS modules for quite some time, like 4 years now. Reviewing code and pull requests and answering issues is the most time-consuming thing on earth. So if anyone wants to help, just let me know, or answer questions or answer anything. It will be huge help. So what about you, Thierno? I see your name already on screen, so I'm asking you.
Yeah. Hi. So I'm Thierno, and mostly I work a lot with Kubernetes since almost 5 years now. And I also work with Terraform also quite a while. And what I'm actually doing in Terraform AWS module today is I'm mostly focused on the Terraform AWS EKS modules. And for what I'm doing on my daily basis, I work for a tech company which try to build some kind of car sharing solutions, electric car sharing solutions. So that's it for me.
Sorry, guys. Is it okay with my sound? Because I thought that you have heard some echo. Is it okay, or is it better now?
I'm not getting any echo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, then I just use headset and see if it's going better. So thank you, Terraform. What about you, Brian?
Sure. Bryant Biggs. I am a cloud architect here in the States. I've been working in AWS and with Terraform for a number of years. So yeah, when not doing the day job, trying to help out with the open source community on a number of different projects, including the Terraform modules. And then also past couple of years, been getting more into the serverless space. So yeah, a lot of interesting things there.
What about you, Ilia?
Hey, so I'm Ilia. I'm a software architect at Placer AI for the last year. I've been working with AWS for, I think, about 3 years now, maybe a bit more. Recently, less so. I'm more focused on GCP now at my current workplace. I've been working on the Terraform AWS modules for, I think, 2 years, Anton, correct me if I'm wrong. Mostly around the VPC module. And also I'm a core contributor to the Terraform AWS provider, also for about like 2 years, something like that.
Cool. So if we have issues with Terraform AWS provider, we know who to reach out to.
Of course, I also break stuff, so it's great.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. So now we all introduce ourselves. If there are questions from anyone, please write in comments in chat, and we can answer them. Elazar wrote that working from the beach. Yes, exactly. That's how Ilia does his job, working from the beach from Israel. Okay, let's start with EKS module. So for people who don't know what is EKS situation, for the last, well, 2 years, I guess maybe even more, Thierno was the primary developer there, right? I mean, there were more people involved from time to time, but I mean, we all know that there are more than, I don't know, thousands of different users of this module, and Thierno was pretty supportive to many different situations and answer a lot of questions. Now, as far as I understand, the module is getting bigger and bigger, and the question is, what is the situation with that module, Thierno? Like, can you say some things like looking in a little bit future?
Yeah, as you mentioned, that the model is getting bigger and bigger, and since almost 4 months or maybe more, there is a couple of no, I think almost 1 year now. We start splitting the module into small submodules to try to address and how we can deploy the EKS. Because as someone of you already know, there is actually four different ways to deploy EKS. We have what they call the managed node group, what they call also the self-managed one, and the Fargate, the Fargate way, and that's this is quite lot of these different ways to deploy the EKS, and the most challenging one is how we can try to add some kind of some features, and without breaking all the previous one. And as you say that since, I mean, almost 1 year now, the module is getting also quite used. So there is a lot of questions and a lot of issues, and they try to figure out how we can address them. And most of the time you have I mean, a lot of the EKS modules is quite you have a lot of noise because sometimes you have issue with the Terraform itself, and or even the provider, and sometimes there is few issues related with the EKS. And what I'm actually today is I'm pretty alone with this with all of these questions, and I need to also a lot of time to review the PR and test them, and this is a lot of it's time consuming, and as I mentioned, as I say, I think I told you earlier in another topic that I work in the Terraform AWS model because in my daily work I use it. So this is how I contribute back to the community. Then so since these having almost 2 months or 3, we are not using this module a lot, and also I think I have a personal thing I don't want to say here, and so I don't have a lot of time to address all those questions or review all those PR quickly as community wants. So so this is why I think they have a lot of PR today. They are almost stale, and where I also I think we want also to break this model into sub-models, and this is quite challenging because I don't know how we can do that without introducing a lot of breaking changes, and this is where we are today. And so I think.
Yeah, I think you made very valid points overall, and I'm quite sure that most of you guys already know this, that we are too few people working on this stuff. And one way how I propose we can kind of work around this is that we made it very explicit to people that, like, even in this case, when people say that, oh, something is not working, or there are 32 PRs, or this is too bad, or in some issues somebody said that if it's summertime and somebody goes on vacation, then the module should not be dying. Well, this is how open source work, right? I mean, we are humans who want to take break. We definitely try our best. If someone disagree, please fork it, and that's it. I mean, I don't know any other option for people to help. But even sometimes when people say that, no, where is it? Like somewhere they say, I will be happy to help. Okay, if you're happy to help, please go into 112 issues and say something about existing issues. I mean, that's exactly where 60% of our time goes. So if somebody says, oh, I would be happy to help, but I just need some permissions, please go and there is comment field somewhere here and write whatever you want. Answer these 112 issues, right? So I'm really not sure what to tell to people when they say, oh, I would like to help, but what? I mean, here is GitHub, you have browser, you go to issues, you open issue, you answer something if you can. That's the best help. If you will be doing this for quite some time, definitely the maintainer will see that, oh, you are actually a responsible person, and we will let you join us and close some issues and do something, right? I mean, I don't really know what can we or how can we respond to issues where people say, oh, velocity of this repository is going down, complexity is going high. Well, that's life. Does anyone have any like solution to these problems? And by the way, hello, Paulina.
Yeah, so Anton, I'll just really just strengthen what you said before. If people could help us triage, I'm not saying even open PRs to fix issues, just help us triage the issues, that would be super helpful. I can give an example from the Terraform AWS provider, which they have at any given moment more than 3,000 open issues.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking right now, 550 open PRs. And I know the team personally, and I know you know them as well. And they're a team that's their entire job. They're getting paid for it. That's their full-time job to maintain the repository. And this is not our full-time job. And we have a job and we don't always have time for this, whether we vacation or whatever. And it's hard. And if the community wants to use this module, they need to invest some of their time as well, in my opinion. You can just use the module and you can complain. Complaining is free. But if you're not doing anything to better the situation, it's just venting. I just don't see how it's helpful. It just we if we don't have time, we don't have time. This is a public project. Nobody's paying us for this. Nobody's like, there's no money behind this. There's no company behind this. And it's being used by, I know like the VPC module has been downloaded more than like, I think 1 million times, 10 million times. I don't remember the exact number, but yeah. So it's popular enough and a lot of people are using it, but not a lot of people are being actively involved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what you just said is that when people open issues like this one, I mean, we don't have to even open the issue, but just by title, we can see that this is something what people should be able to come here and reply and say, what can be the issue, what can be the solution, and be more proactive. Because I'm imagining that most of these issues will be staying like this without any comments unless Thierno finds time and go there and answer this. And absolutely, this is not practical. I mean, not scalable, I would say. Another solution which we can do to this one, again, this is more like proposal. That's what I've just tried recently with pre-commit Terraform. Is that I asked different companies who are using it, because again, many companies are relying on this stuff. And I asked, well, there are like 6,000 clones per day. So a lot of people are using this stuff, and I asked them to sponsor the development so that I can hire one guy to work full-time for a short amount of time to actually fix these 37 issues. We can do the same stuff, but it should be very well organized. And like right now, I'm making an experiment with pre-commit Terraform. And if it will be working out quite nicely, then I will be able to expand it and say, okay, we have certain budget which we can allocate. But I'm really skeptical to involve money into this process, because it will be just impossible to understand who did what. Like, oh, I wrote 2 lines of code, but I wrote 10 lines of code. What does it mean in terms of money? And same happens with, I think, with maybe this one or this one. So this is EKS issues where, no, not this one, maybe this one. Well, anyway, yeah, this one is that I wrote that I want Thierno to take a look on this one. If he cannot do this by today, I'm absolutely not pushing. I'm just saying that if by any reason he cannot do this, then I will be able to do this. And then somebody said, oh, where should I send $50? Well, maybe I need to drop my full-time job and start fixing this by bounties. No, but the point is that I obviously don't want to kind of to transition this as a commercial project, because it's just totally different from what we've been doing for several years now. Right. So I'm not really quite sure how to, for example, help these guys. Like small issue, some discussion here by different people, and then he was really willing to get this pull request merged, and none of us could have time for that one. So then he offered this one. But I mean, that's okay. We can merge this one, but it means that me or Bryant will have to join Thierno and do the same work as Thierno was doing. And that's a problem that we don't have. I don't know about you, Bryant, but I don't have knowledge about EKS, and I don't have capacity to bring one more module on board and say, oh, cool, now I have something to do. So that's why I really try to reduce amount of work for ourselves. So what about you, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, we within our group, as well as the past couple of groups I've been with, heavily used the EKS module. So we do have some means of testing, but I'll be honest, I've stayed away because when something gets this complex, what I've seen in the community is if you change, you'll often see people see like, oh, it's just a simple change. Why can't we have this? And you go and you say, okay, yeah, this looks good. But then when it's so massively large and complex, there's going to be like these obscure edge cases. And as soon as you make a small tweak, suddenly you see the issues start popping up for that tweak. And it's like, well, do you go forwards? Do you go backwards? So that's where with EKS, I did comment on a few things. I think there was like some grammatical README fixes. It's like, okay, like fine, like this is just kind of noise. We can fix it, no problem. But getting into EKS, I don't know. I mean, I have the means of testing some of these things, but I don't have the means of testing it in, like Thierno said, like the 4 different ways people are using it, all of the different ways that people are configuring it, provisioning on Windows machines, Mac machines, Linux machines. It's just massively complex to where I don't have a good understanding of making a change of what side effects may come up.
Yeah, exactly. So does anyone have kind of solution to the problem? What can we do with it?
Okay, I think there's a few ways to approach this. Unfortunately, one of them is a big bang change and re-architect it completely once and for all until the next time we'll have to change it. But it is the complexity so big. I see like the GKE module, for example, for Google, and I'd say it's even more complicated, but they're lucky that Google is the one maintaining that, and they have the resources to automatically test it for every commit you do. It's something we don't have. But yeah, it's possible to try to layer the module more if we go the big bang change approach. That's like the only way I see it from my experience and looking at the repository is a more sustainable change. It's just too big. Also, we don't have a way to know what the features EKS is going to add and how will it break our encapsulation, because we did something. The EKS module thing did something back in the day, and then there's a new feature and it completely breaks the interface of how we thought it should be. And it's not something that we can protect against from happening tomorrow as well. So it's all about doing something temporary. It's always going to be temporary. But what I can say regarding the point Brian raised regarding, oh, there's some PRs with grammatical changes, there's some questions, there's like, we need a better way, and this is like something for us, feedback for us, is to triage the things better. I think labels are a good way to manage it. We have labels, we might need to add something more specific. I saw a very good example in the Terraform Kubernetes provider. There's like good first issue, there's question, there's like here, yeah, this looks a lot better here than like in the other Terraform modules. So it would be, I think, a lot easier for us to not go deeply into each issue, but at least give it like a preliminary triage and tag it with something question, because if we can filter out, like if out of the 112 issues, 50 of them are questions, yeah, it's important to answer them, but it's not like a defect necessarily, and it helps you to focus on what are the issues that require a fix, or alternatively, what is simple enough to, like, I don't know, they added like the flag for EBS optimize. Maybe it's something someone from the community can just add a flag for because it's sufficiently simple, and we can tag it as good first issue, while the long-term maintainers can focus on like the bigger problems.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I'm already making notes for what we are talking about. So labels is something what I personally never used. For the reason is because there are so many of them. It's like you pretty much daily, there are, I don't know, at least a couple issues open or a couple PRs open. Sometimes it's like 10 issues and 10 PRs a day. I don't know why, really. So I usually start picking something from the top and then work until I have, I don't know, some time, and then I stop working. So I never appreciated need of labels. But if we need to involve more people, then labels can be a good indicator for them, specifically good first issue or question or bug, some sort of indicator for them, right? Okay.
I think also, yeah, as you mentioned that we have actually we have a lot of PR and a lot of issue, and we have to find. We have also the team. I think the team is called AWS triage. I don't know, super triage or something like that. I think we have also, we need in ourselves have to I don't know if we have a lot of time to get to triage all the issue in the AWS module, and not also because right now I'm talking to myself. I'm working also on the EKS module. Right? And I mean, they have a lot of other modules, and what is Bryant is doing, and or even you, Anton, and the EKS module. Sometimes you came here, you came and ask a question or try to review some PR. I think we need to. I don't know if you have to get more people into that triage or to that team to try to find how we can quickly review as possible the PR on every repository, and not only focus on even the one module, one specific module. Even I mean that doesn't mean that you don't have a long-term maintainer, someone who really deeply knows the modules, but all those questions, or even not the simple PR like the fixed docs, or I mean how we can manage one auto scaling group. This is something not only relied on specific cases, but we all those situations, I think we can answer questions about them, or even review it quickly and just merge it if possible. I don't know if it.
Well, I think we try to merge PRs if they're really obvious. At least I merge them as soon as possible. And also, if somebody mentioned my name, then I try to reply as soon as possible or high priority as possible. But if PR requires at least some thinking, then, well, I don't have any expectations or any guarantee when it will be merged, right? Because we don't work in a structured way, in a sense of like planning or some sort of Kanban or some sort of like there are no expectations. So I think if we continue, as Brian mentioned, doing our best, well, that's all what we can offer right now. Okay, right. So let's move on to another issue which we have planned, specifically about. Let's see. Oh, right. There is a question by David. Without any permission on repository, there is no way to tag triage issue. What making this ineffective? Well, what makes it very effective is this field, where you can say, I think this issue is fixed by this PR, or I think this is supposed to be used with this flag, or I mean, answer this here. This is a place where you have to leave a comment. And if you say that, okay, this issue is fixed or should be closed or anything, feel free to mention our name and we can close it. I mean,
Other than that,
Yeah.
I think my meaning at least was for the triages, for by the maintainers, for the maintainers, at least at this point, for us to triage and have better visibility of what are the composition of the issues. Are they mostly questions? Are they bugs? Are they what? And for like, let's say I have an hour to work on this a week, and I can use that hour to triage new issues, and then Bryant can come by next week and he has time and he doesn't have to go into each issue and understand what's wrong here. Is it a question? Is it a doc fix? Is it a what? You can just go through all the, for example, the doc fixes and immediately address them without going over the entire 112 issues all over again. We're doing a lot of repetitive work. Again, as Anton said, we're not a team that work together daily. We don't have a Kanban. It's not structured. So this is by us, for us, at least at this point, and to have better visibility for the community. I think that's what I meant by that, at least. But if people from the outside are interested, at least doing this, I think they're welcome to, as Anton said, comment and ask, hey guys, I want to help you. I'm not very experienced in open source, or I didn't do a lot of this, but I can help you triage the issues. This is something that we can consider. Again, we can't say out like, I will have time this week or this month or whatever. We have our own jobs, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think we can take a look into labels which are already inside of EKS module. Some of those may be not applicable to all of repositories, but we can definitely copy them. Well, I can actually make some progress on that inside of Meta repository and apply these labels changes across all modules. So I will.
The other thing to mention here that I think would help greatly, or I guess from my point of view. So yeah, I mean, commenting is great, but when you have something like EKS or VPC and there's a PR open and a lot of people are like, putting the thumbs up, when will this be merged? If people are actually able to take that change set and do just a diff or a plan against what they have running, I mean, that's crowdsourcing now to be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this is going to do what we intend to do, or, oh, no, wait, like red flag, it looks like it's going to break this. We need to put in some migration notes or how to handle it. Because again, like that's very time consuming. We don't have the means like Google to emulate every single different setup. And so if this is actively used and we have tens to hundreds of people waiting for these changes, then take these changes and help us validate it and put that feedback in. You're like, hey, tested on our cluster, we're good to go. Hey, tested it, looks like it might break this thing, just FYI. Because otherwise you're putting that bottleneck on one of us to go out there and try to test all these things. And of course, we may miss something because we're not testing for every single possible combination.
Yeah, exactly. So then the question is, since now we are just 4 people talking here, how can we let other people know what we're talking about? I mean, when a new person open an issue, they have some contribution guide somewhere, I guess this is right. Or if I open a new issue, then bugs, new issue. So somewhere here, we can tell, here we tell to people who wants to open bug report, right? But where can we find help for those existing 112 issues? You know what I mean? I mean, if I go to this issue and I think I understand what is this about, how can we make it explicit for people who are reading this that, hey, don't be shy and do this, test this. How can we put it somewhere here?
I mean, the first thing is, I think we could probably draft it up and put it in the Meta repository. I don't know if we have it, but GitHub respects the contributing.md. I don't know if, I think it's just contributing, but anyways, and then we can reference that.
That's what I say, that it will not be visible for people. I mean, it will be visible only if you know that you need to click on contributing guidelines. But
No,
honestly,
right,
I
but
have never clicked there myself.
right, but then it's then up to us to like that's a very quick thing, like, hey, we're trying to do this thing, and like you're getting a lot of chatter, like you throw that in the thread, like, hey, like, you know, check out the contributing, we're looking for people to test this. You put it into the issue templates or the PR templates. You just start, you know, that's kind of your like go-to source. And if you look at some really popular ones, I'm sure the as Ilia probably knows, the contributing one for the upstream provider, they're very comprehensive, telling you like, here's how you set up locally, here's how, you know, we kind of work together, what we're looking for, and you just kind of keep pointing people back to that source of truth.
Yeah, right. So then, as you say, as soon as somebody opens an issue, we put some labels into it, depending of whatever we feel. And then if somebody says, well, how can we tell to people that, hey, I know that you are watching this issue, now go and read these contributing guidelines and help us close this issue?
So what you have at least in the AWS module is I think we also have that for some of the repos. You have the issue template or a PR template, and I like for the PR template for the AWS provider, you have links for all of those things. Like go read. It's like it's commented out. You won't see it when you open the PR, but like when you post it, but when you open it, you see it in a comment, like do this, do this. So it's in a visible place. It's a bit more visible than the link below.
Well, that's what we have here. We have this comment, this one. So there are a lot of comments here, but this is only for people who is opening an issue. But I'm more talking about people who can be helpful in order to help close this issue, like this one.
So, okay.
How can we reach out to people who potentially can help us with this particular issue?
So we can be more explicit and not leave it in comment. And you have like for the AWS provider, also have a header. If you can just go to the provider repo, just find one of the issues or the PRs, and you'll see it.
Yeah.
That they have like before you can add. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like
that's a good point.
like add a thumbs up, go to the guide, and so on and so on, and what's relevant for us. So I think it's very helpful because sometimes, not a lot, but I saw people from like not the original contributor helping with this, like testing it, or hey, I'm getting an error if I use this. Yeah, so it's all like layers of things that can help us.
Okay, so we have to add community node at the top of the template.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, looking at the other issue that you were looking at, I think we should probably be a bit more aggressive with those type of issues where there's no way of reproducing the error that you show. Like if you're just posting your error message and saying like, hey, like I got this error.
Like
I don't know
like
if
we had a couple of days ago where a guy was putting screenshots instead of instead of images.
But I don't know. I haven't delved into the stale bot. But again, like I don't know if I know that there's a common one, like you see there, needs triage or awaiting reproduction or something like that, but some way of more aggressively closing those things. So again, like we can cut down on the noise more quickly. With the contributing one, I think it's we can put that in there and make it more visible, but it's really looking for those hotspot issues where you see a lot of activity and like throwing it in there like, hey, like, you know, all these people are watching this thread, like has anyone tested it, has anyone or is anyone able to validate it or help us validate it, I should say.
Well, I think and that's what I believed for a pretty long time, I think more than a year. Stale bot is something what we really need, because there are a lot of situations where the issue actually can be closed, but person is too lazy to do this, or he just lost interest or anything. So we don't even have to think about that issue anymore. So I will definitely put this stale bot in action for real. The reason why I didn't do this before is because, well, it just didn't like our organization. I don't know why. So StaleBot has its own issues with our GitHub organization. That's why we need to put it into each individual repository, on the repository level. But well, this is definitely required. So stale-boot is no-brainer. Can we talk about release process and Terraform docs? So, like, there are a few questions overall which I forgot to ask. If we are talking about like 4 of us, or now there is David. So, hello, David. So if we can kind of think about how much time do we have overall? Like, I know that all of us have some sort of full-time job, and some of us don't want to work with certain things. So if we look into this release process using release drafter or any other GitHub action tool, does anyone have really solid understanding or a script which you can just copy paste from somewhere? I'm looking at you, Bryant.
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about this earlier with you, and
yeah, I use Semantic Releaser, which is an npm module, and provided you follow the conventional commits, works pretty good. Depending on how you configure it, I always seem to have fought with the changelog markdown file. Sometimes it would want to recreate the whole thing. Sometimes it would only put the latest change. It was kind of like, again, like fighting with Terraform docs. So I just did away with that part of it in a lot of the repositories we use today. And so now it just does the release draft. So when you do the like npx semantic release, it'll look at the commits and understand if it's just a patch fix, a feature release, or a breaking change, and that will automatically set the next version. It'll set the git tag, and then it'll draft up the GitHub release and update with all of those changes. But again, the downside, I see it in a lot of repositories, not all of them. Some still, like AWS or Terraform, HashiCorp, what have you, they still manage this massive change log for each major version. And that is, I think, easier for some people to search through to find where something was introduced. With the semantic releaser, the way that I use it today, that's literally like 5 lines of code, just a simple configuration file. It's only updating the releases. And then with Terraform docs, I am ripping that out of our CI process. I don't know why periodically it looks like it just kind of craps out, and it's like bringing in the Terraform docs repository. And so like you'll look at the diff and you'll see like the Terraform docs, the license, their README and all this stuff. Yeah. And it's like, where is that coming in from? And so, yeah, what we've done is we just, have to be cognizant of running, the Terraform docs before we merge, but we're not checking that in the process. And then for any of the modules that I maintain, personally, I just run that at the end. I think that kind of works a little bit easier because it keeps the PR diffs a little bit cleaner, because otherwise with the way that Terraform docs works and every change, unless it's just a simple README change, there's always going to be a dirty diff between each PR because the Terraform docs have been updated. So I'm only updating it at the time when doing a release.
Yeah, well, there is also pre-commit GitHub action, which we can utilize completely. So what it means is that we just put into our configuration one invocation of pre-commit hook, and that's it. That's the same what we run ourselves when we finish in someone's pull request.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, using GitHub Actions for the pre-commit.
Yeah, so this way person will not have to be thinking about why, like what else does he have to do after he writes changes inside a variable's description, which is often when people add variable description, they don't know that they need to somehow update README, And for those cases, such GitHub action would be very helpful. I think we can definitely continue improving those things related to GitHub actions. Now the question is, does anyone have time and possibility to work on those?
Just so I understand, when you say putting it into a GitHub action, we're looking at implementing an action that's when somebody pushes up a PR, it will run against their PR and run pre-commit, which will do the linting, validation, Terraform docs, all those things that we specify in the pre-commit file. And then we're going to write it back to their PR.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing which I still don't understand how to do, to be honest, is if person fork on behalf of organization, we cannot continue working on those issues so easily. For example, let me try to find someone like where I see this name of the fork does not match the username name. Maybe this one. No, this one is the same.
Oh yeah, I think so if I make a PR from my organization, I do know in GitHub it breaks that to where the little checkbox allow contributors to make changes.
Exactly, and almost nobody click it.
Yeah, well, no, from the organization side, I don't think it even works. So that's why I had to move all the modules out of my organization over to my personal, just to be able to let that work. I don't know why that happens.
I see. Well, for me, it's pretty frustrating sometimes because I want to finish someone else's pull request just by changing a few things here. And I don't want to make separate pull request, but since I cannot commit and push to their own fork because I don't have any relation to the organization, I need to push my own branch and then open a new PR, which is just very strange. It was much more frequent like a year ago, but not so frequent anymore. I don't know why. But anyway, the point is that the job which has to be done is inside of GitHub action, which will be related to this pre-commit YAML file where we do similar magic right now, but we do this on push and on pull requests. We will have to do similar things related to like, I don't know how release drafter works, to be honest. I mean, what is the event for it? So how will it know that after merge it has to make new PR, or not PR, new release?
Let me check with I know the guys in Chekhov also had like a release after each commit, and they used also a GitHub action. Let me check with them. Maybe Barak knows.
Well,
in general, this release drafter usually works that after merging to the push, after pushing to the master, it's creating the release drafter, and then it's incrementally updating the draft of the release when the new pushes are done to the master.
Well, yeah, this has to be just investigated and reviewed, and I understand that it's not very complicated. The point is that somebody has to work on this one, understand how it's built, and well, then we can use it. Whether we use this semantic release or release drafter or anything else, it doesn't really matter, I think. But try to avoid JavaScript because that's just not good. Well, no, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's talk about releases and how to make this and what exactly to do with someone who wants to work on it. I mean, I don't know who wants to work on it, but just let us know and we can talk about this. right now, I don't think we have enough understanding of what should be done. Right. We know that there were some strange things with Terraform docs, which is the reason why we pinned to 0.13 version. But we still have issues with 0.13, I think, sometimes in some repos. So sometimes different pull requests contain license from another repository, which is, well, totally strange. Anyway, let's move on. Let's leave this release process for later, because I think it's a little bit bigger topic. Do we need to use any? Yeah.
I would like to just and when we use the release drafter, and that way we are saying that each time we merge a PR, we are releasing a new version of the module, right?
Yeah.
This is the point.
Yeah. Well, I think.
More.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is nothing wrong with releasing it. I think there is nothing wrong with releasing it after each pull request. I know that inside of EKS module, you are grouping it together, like, I don't know, 5-10 different merge requests, and then you release it. But in general, I don't see this as the biggest problem, to be honest. So if one pull request is merged, great, let's release it. Somebody can use it already. Was it your question about how frequent we should release?
Yes, and I think I was trying to rephrase that to say that to see if I understand really where we are going now. So so right now we are changing the release process to say that we will push a new release each time we merge a pull request. That's what it's not for me. It's okay for me. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. So we have just like 2-3 minutes left. What about? Well, I'm not making notes for this couple items, but I think I remember. So what about using Terraform 0.12? Like, one of my questions is, should we even think about this? Like, can we safely upgrade to 0.13 and forget about it? Or maybe we can safely upgrade to 0.14 or 15 or 1.0. I mean, think about this. 0.12 is already out, and we probably don't use it, right? I mean, if we use, then we use existing functionality, and we will not be able to upgrade for some reason. But I'm more interested in about 0.13, 14, and 15. Between those three versions, there are not many very important features being added between these versions. I mean, sensitive, non-sensitive, the way it is implemented right now, it's pain in the ass. It's not something what we can use inside of modules so flexibly, because you cannot use it in enough flexible situations. For example, if resources, a module, they have their own definition of sensitiveness, then you cannot override it on different levels. So is it safe to use 0.13 inside of our modules and just bump new version and that's it?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
At the very least, like they pin it on the latest 13 version. I remember there was like some change to make the state compatible cross versions
So
for
last,
querying at least.
I think it's last version of 0.13 or something.
Yeah. And this way, it's a bit more flexible to use with others, with other versions, even if we don't explicitly say we tested it on like 14 or 15. But yeah, I think it's 13.6, but I think 13.7 is just some change to the public key. Yeah,
exactly. So it should be 13.7. should we bump new major version for that one, or can we just continue using the same version?
I would do, I mean, any of these, just based on some of the noise coming back from the community. I mean, even though it is, it seems small. Yeah, I mean, we may just have a couple of like version 5 bumping to version 13, version 6 bumping to version 14, whatever. But then that way, depending on how people have their versions pinned, they won't be caught off guard by.
Right. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Good. I propose to finish this call right now, and I want us to have another, maybe much shorter call about just release process after we understand, like from what I still don't understand is release drafter versus semantic release versus maybe 2 other tools which people use, and all of them are used in open source pretty much equally. So I don't know which one is best for us. It's going to be related to this, to the pre-commit YAML somewhere. So somewhere inside of GitHub action, there will be invocation of release drafter somewhere, somehow. Okay, I will make notes which I recorded. I will make them public inside of Meta repository, and I will share it somewhere here inside of this. Yeah, inside of this one. And also, David shared a link to issue template. And sorry that I didn't read this before, but the link you shared to issue template is something what we already have. And yeah, that's release drafter. Yes, that's good. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Let's let me finish these notes first for what we discussed, and I propose to talk about release process in about 2 weeks. I mean, we don't have very urgent needs right now. I think we still have few improvements to do inside of labels, inside of community nodes, integrate Stalebot, and that's it. Cool. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.